Welcome to the MedRite video documentation. This tutorial covers setting up a new resident. For every resident in the facility, a profile must be created and maintained. The first step for adding a new resident is to check that that resident has not already been added previously to the facility. Navigate to Residents, Edit Resident, select Past Residents from the radio buttons. If that resident already has a profile, select it in the Resident Selection panel, then select the status link to readmit them. Confirm and the resident will be readmitted. They will not have a bed or room, so they must either be set to pre-admit or given a unit bed and room. Now let's talk about creating a completely new resident. Navigate to Residents, New Resident. Here we see the page to fill in the resident's basic information. Any field on this page can be hovered over with the mouse to display a tooltip that indicates what that field is. Note that fields marked with red asterisks are required in order to submit the new resident profile. While the rest of the information is not required, we strongly advise filling in as much of this information as possible. Begin by selecting the resident's gender with the radio buttons. Provide the resident's first and last name. Optionally, a middle name and a nickname can be provided as well. Enter the resident's social security number or select the No Social Security Number checkbox. Provide the date of birth, the resident's height, and their weight upon admission. Continuing down, the admit date will automatically be set to today, but can be changed if needed. The same is true for the move-in date. Now use the pull-down to indicate where this resident was admitted from. Then use the input box to further describe where they were admitted from. Next, provide any notes about their admission. Next, provide any notes about prior unsuccessful placements. Moving back to the top of the page, these checkboxes are indicators of various things for the residents. Select each one that applies for this resident. Moving to the right, we see the O2 instructions for the resident. If the resident is on oxygen, provide the number of liters in the O2 input box. Use the pull-down to indicate how the oxygen is received, and indicate what their pulse oxygen should be kept above. Then, provide any global medication instructions for this resident. Now this next section is extremely important. Either select the pre-admit checkbox to indicate that this is a pre-admission, or indicate the unit, room, and bed that the resident will be in. Note that unless the resident is given a unit, a room, and a bed, they will not show up on a MedPass machine. Now select the primary care provider from the list of care providers that have been set up by the facility or sent over by the pharmacy. A new care provider can be entered by selecting the Enter Primary Care Provider link and providing the information for that care provider. Moving down the page again, we see the pharmacy record number. This field cannot be interacted with by the facility, and it is only for the pharmacy to set a record number for their purposes. The facility record number can be used by the facility for their own bookkeeping needs, as well as the account number. If ADL care groups are used by the facility, a care group can be selected from the care group pull-down. The last thing to add for the resident is a picture. Click the picture in the top left, which will show a generic portrait, until we upload a photograph. Select Choose File, navigate to the picture in the computer's file system, select it and click Open. Then Submit. With all the information added, click Submit to finish creating the new resident. The user will then be placed at the Edit Resident page, where that resident can have additional information filled in for them. That concludes the tutorial for creating a new resident. For more detailed information, view the new resident written documentation. Thank you for watching this MedRite tutorial.